The religion known as Islam today is a synthesis of both new and ancient beliefs and rituals, shaped by the imperatives of consolidating Arab rule at the time. In this video, we explore instances where Muslims adopted elements from Manichaeism, the faith founded by the Persian prophet Mani. If you're watching a video from our channel for the first time, subscribe and ring the bell to join us in our explorations. YouTube is filled with videos discussing experts' doubts about the authenticity of Muhammad, the prophet of Islam. During a period concurrent with the late Umayyad and early Abbasid periods, as Arab rulers expanded their territories, they sought to integrate their lands using religious tools. Thus, efforts to historicize a religion called Islam began, with some historians tasked with characterizing and writing narratives about an individual named Muhammad as the prophet of Islam. In the second set of theories, it is discussed that a person named Muhammad actually declared prophethood during a specific historical period. However, this claim is considered a form of opportunism, stemming from the beliefs of those who anticipated the arrival of the second Messiah. According to this belief, Muhammad, an educated individual from a Nabatean family with roots in Petra, was well versed in ancient religious texts, particularly Syriac writings concerning the Messiah and the promise of the last prophet. Engaged in trade for years, he encountered various beliefs during his travels and drew from them in formulating his own new religion, enriching it by incorporating diverse religious texts and writings. You can find various examples of Islamic text, including Quran, copying from Syriac religious texts, as well as Muslims adopting beliefs and rituals from Jews, Christians, and even Middle Eastern polytheists. Additionally, one must consider the influence of Gnostic and Manichaean beliefs on Islamic practices. This writing is one of hundreds of discussions about the beliefs of the inhabitants of the Arabian Peninsula in the early years of Islam. It mentions the followers of a person named Abu Amir, who resided in Medina years before the advent of Muhammad and were known as the Hanafis. According to the writer, they were followers of Mani. Hanif is introduced in Islamic writings and beliefs as an ancient religion based on monotheism, with Abraham being identified as its first preacher. This association is reflected in a verse from Surah Al-Imran, where Hanif is used to describe the religion of Abraham. Similarly, in Surah Al-Rum, Hanif's religion is mentioned again in the text. In Syriac, the word Hampa means someone who believes in God. And in the Nabatean language, the word Hanif was used to refer to the followers of one of their religious branches. The Nabateans are the same people who settled in Petra during a certain period of history. And according to Ali, Prophet Muhammad's cousin, their roots trace back to the Nabateans. However, there is also a phrase from the teachings of John the Baptist in Manichaeans' religious writings that mentions Hanafiya as a type of religious belief, albeit it is used to refer to polytheists. Similarly, there are Syriac texts where the word Hanif is used to refer to polytheists in various cases. Additionally, according to discussions by John Reeves, at some point Hanif was used to refer to Mani and his followers. Moreover, in the writings of Orthodox Jews in the 5th and 6th centuries AD, the word minim was used to refer to those who believed in two gods or dominant forces in the world, which is derived from the name of Mani. However, in the Tanakh, which is the Hebrew Bible, the word minim is not used even once. Instead, it is interpreted that whenever the word Hanuppah appears in the text, it conveys a similar meaning. These are different forms in which the word Hanif is used in the writings of Jews, Syrians, and Arabs to refer to Manichaeans. Further explanation reveals that during Muhammad's presence in Medina, one of the most significant groups constantly challenging the Islamic prophet and refusing to accept him as a prophet were those adhering to the Manichaean faith, led by a figure named Abu Amir. In the writings of Ibn Hisham, considered one of the earliest Muslim historians, a group of people in Medina is mentioned under the title of Hanafi. It is recounted that one of their leaders, after exchanging views with Muslims, expressed gratitude to God for not coming into the world as either Jewish or Christian, but as a Hanafi. A part of the discussion follows the findings of this famous Orientalist, who showed that these two words referred to a group led by a person named Musaylima, who was introduced as the prophet of Hanafism. Additionally, historical writings indicate that Arabs used terms such as mu'minun for decades to refer to themselves. The term Muslim emerged during the Marwanid period. The subsequent question arises: how probable is it that the invading Arabs, aiming for a unified religion to consolidate their territories under their rule, adopted the names and titles of Muslims and Hanafis from the Manichaeans? During that period, the Manichaean religion was renowned worldwide, stretching from China to present-day Britain, boasting numerous followers. However, it gradually faded into obscurity in a short period, particularly with the onset of suppression by governments, which were primarily supporters of monotheistic beliefs. Manichaeans residing in territories under Arab rule faced severe persecution from rulers, often resulting in death or forced displacement. They were unable to denounce those who appropriated their beliefs and rituals. Consequently, the names and titles of Manichaeans, such as Hanif and Muslim, were also usurped. This is not the only instance of Muslims adopting practices from Manichaeans. When researching the history of Islam and its prophet, one finds that the oldest writings about Muhammad were recorded at least 100 years after his death. Curiously, during this century-long gap between Muhammad's death and the first recorded works about Islamic history, there is no mention of the emergence of a new prophet. Therefore, according to historical records, the name of Muhammad seemingly emerged abruptly in history, a century after the period claimed by Muslims for his existence. For this reason, there are theories suggesting that a prophet named Muhammad did not exist, and that Arab leaders, while expanding their territorial rule, defined a religion by amalgamating different religious beliefs. One indication of this Muslim appropriation is the use of the title Khatam al-Anbiya, meaning the seal of the prophets, for Muhammad. This title was also used by Mani himself to identify himself. However, unlike Muslims who interpret Khatam al-Anbiya to mean the last prophet, Mani's interpretation of Khatam al-Anbiya was someone who connects the teachings of prophets before and after him to illuminate the path of spiritual freedom for humanity. Mani also had a celestial counterpart, known as his heavenly twin, who appeared in various situations to provide necessary guidance. And it wasn't only Mani. In Manichaean beliefs, each individual has their own celestial counterpart, who guides and inspires them with revelations, or appears to them in dreams to offer assistance. In the Muslims' adoption of Manichaean concepts, Mani's counterpart is equated with Jabrail, who conveyed God's messages to Muhammad whenever needed. Unlike other prophets, referred to as Ulul Azm, who lived before Muhammad and had little involvement with Jabrail, figures like Moses and Abraham received their religious commands directly from God. It's not the same with Muhammad's miracle from the Muslim point of view. They see the Quran as proof of Muhammad's prophecy, a book that Muslims believe to have been sent to them by God and has a completely different nature from the transformation of Moses' staff into a serpent or the healing of the sick and raising the dead by Jesus. In discussions related to Manichaeism, Mani is the only prophet considered to have personally recorded and written his own religious books. Arjang, a book that he spent months writing in a cave, is described as a magical book where the images on each page come to life and move. Therefore, his followers, who were widespread throughout the known world during the domination of Arab rulers, were familiar with the concept of a book as a miracle. Consequently, claiming the appearance of a new prophet with a book as a miracle was much more acceptable to the followers of this popular religion than phenomena like raising the dead or healing the sick. But the most notable theft by Muslims from Manichaeism concerns the word Paraclete. This term initially appears in the Gospel of John, where it means the Comforter, referring to someone whom Jesus promised to his disciples before his crucifixion. The word Paraclete appeared in some old Christian texts as Ahmad. According to certain Islamic narratives, Amina, the mother of Muhammad, also referred to her son as Ahmad. This interpretation, according to some theories, originated from the Christian beliefs of some of Amina's associates and may have been the beginning of Muhammad's acquaintance with the concept of the promised prophet, Ahmad. However, Paraclete in Hebrew is Menachem. Names in Hebrew are often abbreviated. For instance, Benjamin becomes Bibi, and Menachem becomes Mani. Therefore, in some interpretations, Mani may not have been the Persian prophet's original name, but rather an abbreviation of his title, Menachem or Paraclete, someone who held the title of the Seal of the Prophets and came to guide humanity after Christ. Yet, these titles were stolen by Muslims while the severe suppression of Manichaeans was ongoing.